Hi, my name is Likonge, aged 18. I will be having a quick discussion with Mr. Zimba, who is the National Coordinator for the campaign against child marriage. The main purpose for this discussion is for us to understand the importance of the campaign and how it is helping in promoting child development. So with that said, I'll quickly go into the questions.
Yes.
Mr. Zimba,
Present.
briefly tell us, what is this campaign all about?
Okay, thank you. So, the campaign against child marriages in Zambia is basically a global campaign by World Vision, and globally the campaign is called, it takes the world to end violence against children. Okay, now the genesis of this campaign is from a UNICEF report that was submitted to UN General Assembly of 2014, okay. And the UN General Assembly shared this report with the Global Office for World Vision, and the World Vision then communicated to the rest of the countries to see what kind of a campaign they can launch based on what was itemized in that report as children violations. So for us here in Zambia, when we did our desk review with other partners, the Ministry of Gender by that time, Ministry of Youth Sports, Ministry of Home Affairs and others, Ministry of Education, we realized that the issue of child marriage in Zambia was ranking #1. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have child labor, we don't have sexual harassment. All these things are there, but the child marriage issue is ranked #1. So from there onward, World Vision Zambia launched this campaign to end child marriages on the 21st of March 2018 with two main objectives. All right, #1 is to increase knowledge, awareness on the negative effects of child marriages in the communities by working with community members, and these are traditional leaders, the faith leaders, the parents, the children, women organizations, community-based organizations, basically everyone, to ensure that we take down this message and people are aware of the negative issues associated with child marriages. The objective #2 is to do with influencing policy change and laws at national level to ensure that we put in the necessary legal system that protects children against child marriages and other violations. Yeah, so from there onwards, 21st of March 2018, we have been implementing this campaign based on those two objectives. Now, at community level, if you can allow me to proceed, at community level, we are right now as we speak, we are working with more than 40 senior traditional leaders, that have come on board to support the campaign to end child marriages. Of the more than 40, 21 have actually put down, the child protection bylaws. These are laws that are meant to strengthen the coordination, to strengthen the referral mechanisms, to strengthen the reporting mechanisms within the chiefdom, on issues to do with child marriages and, child violations. We know that we still have others that are yet to come on board and do the, child protection bylaws. But where we are right now, I think it's a significant move, a significant gain in terms of, reaching out to the communities. You may also wish to know that we are working with more than 200 faith leaders through what they call the district pastors fellowship. So we have trained these faith leaders in our approach, World Vision approach, we call channels of hope for child protection. And the whole idea is that we want these faith leaders to integrate the message of ending child marriages into the church main activities. And we can report to you and anyone listening to us, watching us, that actually these faith leaders have gone ahead to incorporate this messaging. They are reaching out to the communities through the church activities, through youth activities, women activities, men activities, and actually the main church activities, to spread the message on the dangers of child marriages. At community level, we are also engaging, parents through our usual activities, the door-to-door sensitization. We are also working with children through the schools. Actually, schools have been our very, very good partners through the Ministry of Education. So in these schools, among other things, we are doing the formation of what we are calling the school councils, where children are part of these councils and they are part of the decision making within the school environment on some of the things that are supposed to be done to ensure that children are protected and children are not taken into marriages, and also they don't fall into marriages themselves. All right, so we are reaching out to the children at school level, we are reaching out to the parents at community level, and we have faith leaders on board, we have also traditional leaders on board. So this is the whole campaign, and the main theme here is that it takes Zambia to end child marriages. What are we saying? We do not want to see young girls, young boys into marriages. Where do we want to see them? Going to school and achieving their full potential by making sure that they have the opportunity to go to school and learn and pass.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful explanation. So, Mr. Zimba,
yes.
So far, what achievements have you scored under this campaign?
Thank you very much. So, one of the achievements is what I just talked about, where we, working with traditional leaders, we've, worked together to put down the child protection bylaws within the chiefdoms, and we have helped these, we have worked together with the district child protection committees to document. Remember, Likonge, that traditional things are not written. Okay, so we are working together to make sure that these child protection bylaws are written down, and the writing process is guided by the technocrats from the district child protection committees. So that's one very good achievement we have done. Another one is that when it comes to influencing law development to do with child protection, we have been part of the formulation and the legislation of the Children Code Bill that is about to be presented to Parliament, according to His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema pronunciations on the commemoration of the World Children's Day on 20th November 2021. World Vision has been part of the process, submissions to the Ministry of Justice on what should be in this law to ensure that issues of child marriage and issues of child protection are enhanced. One thing that will stand out very well once this law is ushered or enacted is that there will be harmonization of the age of a child. Yeah, and this harmonization will be in line with the international instruments that Zambia has signed. Among them, the Convention on the Rights of Children, which defines a child as anyone below the age of 18. And we also have the African Charter on the Welfare of Children, also confirms the definition of the child. And we also have the SADC protocol. Now, Zambia is a signatory to all this, and this Children Code Bill is going to, is designed actually in such a way that it acknowledges the presence of these other legislation that Zambia has appended the signature to. So once it's enacted, we are very sure that everyone will be talking one language, that a child in Zambia is one below the age of 18, regardless of where you are, whether traditional or what, the child will be under, anyone below the age of 18. So that should anyone go against that, then they will be answerable to that law. The other thing we can talk about here, Likonge, is that because of the overwhelming response we are receiving from the communities, the children themselves and the parents, we have so far from 2018 to close of 2019 reported 1,335 child marriage cases, those that have been reported and known to World Vision. But the good part is that out of those, 936 have been retrieved, and of those, more than 600 have been helped, taken back to school through community initiatives. The same parents that supported this child to get into marriage, and the child now says, I don't want to be in this marriage, I want to continue, they have welcomed these children back and helped them back in school. Traditional leaders also have, gotten down and put in place initiatives, and I'm not shy to mention those that we are working with them and the initiatives that they have put in place. So we have Chief Ndake of Nyimba. He's got Chief Ndake Foundation, and through his traditional council, he's put in place a situation where each village per year contributes 50 kwacha. This money is kept together to support girls that are retrieved from, child marriages. Mazimawe also has a foundation, and is doing the same thing, supporting girls, and to an extent where I think for Chief Mazimawe there should be one girl who is finishing her 3rd year nursing at Chipata General Hospital. I'm told some other people graduated also from other colleges. In Northwestern Province, we have 2 outstanding traditional leaders, actually 3. So Chief Kanyama, Royal Highness Chief Kanyama, has initiated this fishing project where he's hatching finger rings and empowering households, vulnerable households, those that have girls that are going to school and they cannot afford. So the whole thing is, once this fish grows, then they can sell and get an income to support the girl. Chief Chibwika actually has come up with a project, and I'm sure that by this time it should be complete, because last time we were with him, it was actually basically a few things remaining. Because the mattresses, the ablution block, everything was ready. This boarding section is specifically for girls, because that's one chiefdom where there's no boarding secondary school, and so children walk distances of even about 120 kilometers away. So they end up doing the weekly boarding, which is also very, very dangerous for them, because these children are on their own in these small huts in the community, and they are not protected, they are not guided. So a number of them actually end up going home pregnant, because men do take advantage of them, right? So these are some of the traditional leaders we are working with, and they have come on board to support these girls, through community level initiatives. So those are some of the things I can share with you as successes to this campaign.
Okay, so much has been achieved, right?
Well.
And talking about child marriage, it seems like only the girl child is affected, or is actually the one who is sent into marriage at a tender age. So, Mr. Zimba, are boys ever married off for their children?
Which one? Pardon me?
Are boys ever married off while they are children?
Okay, fine. So let me give you some background to that.
Okay.
According to the UNICEF report, all right, that we are basing our campaign on very well, is that in any given population, 17% of the girls are involved in child marriage, and only 1% of the boys. Yeah. So, among the girls, we know that some of the marriages, it's not that all marriages parents push these girls or sell them off to gain an income. No, sometimes it's the girls themselves. Well, because of whatever circumstances, they prefer to be married. For them, it looks like it's a form of security, but they don't realize that actually that's the worst thing to do, because there are too many things in a marriage that one imagine. So some of them girls get there on their own, but others, true, they are pushed into these child marriages so that the parents can get basically a goat. Though some people maybe a cow, others maybe 200 kwacha, others, it's more or less like a transactional thing, transacting a girl. All right. Now for boys, the statistics we have are low in terms of those that are involved in child marriage. However, it's important to acknowledge that we have boys who marry before they reach the age of 18. This is true, and mainly because it's, maybe they cannot afford to go to school. They are in a rural area where education infrastructure, schools are not there. So once they reach the age of 15, 16, they feel their bodies are ready and so on, they end up marrying.
So it's a personal decision and not something that they're pushed into.
I think for the boys, it's more to do with a personal decision, because I have talked to certain boys who married at an early age, and the reason was that possibly they have a single mother, and they want this girl to be helping the mother. So the boy goes in to marry, brings the girl home, so that the girl is like a helper to the mother. So on the part of the boys, well, maybe with some background influence, they might marry, but evidence to say they are being pushed into these marriages, no, that we can point at right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. In the recent past, yes, we had the COVID-19 pandemic, which affected, or rather negatively impacted, yes, on many interventions in different organizations. Yes. So how did the COVID-19 pandemic, yes, affect, or rather negatively impact the campaign?
Thank you so much. A lot. And actually we are still in the COVID pandemic. So in terms of the campaign, remember that this campaign is 70% community-based. Okay. We have to do activities at community level, sensitization activities, awareness activities, interact with traditional leaders, and the rest. Now, when the COVID hit, somehow there has been restrictions on what activities we can do at community level. Okay. That means message has not been getting down. Now, the West has been at that same point. Schools have had prolonged closures. That's the time children are at home, right? And because of the COVID situation, I can confirm with you that each and every district, village we have been to, there have been increased statistics to do with teenage pregnancies and child marriage. I think for the campaign, that is a negative, thing to hear, because we are here to prevent that, and to learn that this is happening on daily basis is so sad, and especially that it's happening because children are at home as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. That is the worst news we would want to hear. Yeah, so I think that has been the huge problem on the campaign. So our reach then to the communities have been in many times restricted to programs on radio, all right, where we come to the radio and work with the children themselves, to do these radio programs, and appealing to parents that the closure of the schools is not the end of it, but there's still time. These schools will be opened, and life will continue. So yes, COVID-19 in all angles of this campaign has been a drawback, because by this time we should have been talking about, reduction in cases of child marriages, even issues of teenage pregnancies. But because of the COVID-19, these cases have been on the rise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard you severally talking about how you've been working with parents, children, though
yes.
it hasn't been explained clearly. So in the campaign, how do you work with parents and children in promoting child protection and completely bringing child marriage to an end?
Thank you very much. Our goal actually is what we have ended with. We want to bring child marriage cases to zero. All right, so how are we working with children? So number one, we know that one of the best places to catch up with children are schools, where they go. So we are strongly working with the Ministry of Education and reaching out to those schools. Now remember, Likonge, we are doing everything we can in the schools within the World Vision catchment areas. All right, so we are reaching them with messages through their fellow children or learners within that school that are formed or are part of the children councils. Some of them, actually, our communications department have gone ahead to form what we are calling the journalist clubs. So these children, having oriented them on the issues of the campaign, are picking up these stories in the communities and making them known, to the rest of the people. But also, what is even very good is that when these schools have club days, for example, they are reaching out to their friends with the preventive messages. Headmasters also are taking, like a moment during school assemblies to say a word and call on fellow children to speak to children. And what is even more good is that we have a number of schools that have, this re-entry. So the children dropped out, went into marriage, they have come back. So these are playing the role of role models. All right. So they are able to stand in front of others and share the experiences they have had in the marriage and urging others not to go there. All right. Yeah. So for parents, yes, we are working with them. And a number of them actually have come up. Remember, World Vision is not just implementing the campaign, but we also have another component we are calling CVA, Citizen Voice and Action. So we have groups of parents that are in the community and they are advocating, all right, during community meetings, advocating, to end child marriages. And I can confirm with you that a number of these parents have come forward, have stood up to encourage even those other parents that are still dragging their feet in terms of making a decision to support the girl child in school. Okay, these are the same parents as well that we are engaging to ensure that a home environment is very key for any child. If a child is to go anywhere, go any further, realize their potential in life, they have to look at the home environment. So parents reached with prevention messages on ending child marriages, but they are also being encouraged to support the girls with whatever they have to ensure that they go to school. Now, one thing I can share with you, we are here in Kawe in Central Province. There's one school called Musoka within our World Vision operational areas, and there's a girl there by the name of Isabel, right? She's in grade 10, and she should be 15, 16 years, somewhere there. Every day of her life in that school, she's covering a distance of 32 kilometers, 16 kilometers to school and 16 kilometers back from school, all right? And when we go through to the father says, I want my child to make a difference. I did not go very far in school, but I don't want that to happen to my children, to my child. And this is a girl, it's not a boy, it's a girl. She doesn't, well, sometimes I'm told she's helped with a bicycle, but sometimes she literally walks to school 32 kilometers per day. This is happening not by accident, all right? But because we have taken these messages and parents at community level have accepted these messages and they're beginning to act. Right?
All I can say is that on behalf of all the children out there, we really appreciate you for every effort that you're making in completely bringing child marriage to an end. So thank you so much, Mr. Zimba, for creating time to enlighten us on all the efforts that have been made in helping us children enjoy our rights.
Thank you, Likonge. And to the viewers, remember that it takes you and I to end child marriages in Zambia. Stay safe and support your child.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.